Hey YouTube, what's up? Mike the Manic Geek here. Now today we're going to be taking a rather up close and personal look at the EVGA Torque X10 Carbon. This is their top shelf mouse offering. It's been around for a minute now, but I figured what the heck, I won something else through an EVGA giveaway, so I figured I'd take a look at it now in the current space of mice and see if this is still something you guys should be considering. So without further ado, as Sean Yu would say, let's get to know the real mouse. Alright guys, so we are literally going to be taking a much closer look at the Torque X10 Carbon here. We're going to start off with what comes in the box with this. So you do get some extra feet for the bottom of the mouse. Always nice to see this included because especially if you're using something like a plastic mouse mat, these will wear out sooner rather than later. You also get this adjustment screw here. Let's see if I can't get. I'll show some close-up shots of these later on. But appropriately enough, it is a Torx bit, and this is used to adjust the mouse, which I will also get into in a little bit here. You also get these weights for the adjustable weight system that's included with this mouse. They are in 2, 4, and 6 gram size allotments here, so you can add anywhere from 2 to 12 grams of additional weight to this mouse. Now, moving on to the mouse itself, we can see that we have this really nice classic shape going on here with this mouse. You can see that it's got just that very recognizable mouse shape to it, but where this starts to deviate from other mice really is a couple of features that we have here. First of all, you can see there are thumb buttons on both sides. This is an ambidextrous mouse. The software for this mouse does allow you to control whether it's left or right-handed, so when you're holding it like this or when you're holding it like this, the opposite buttons aren't going to get clicked. Nice touch. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 programmable buttons here on this mouse. So that's a decent quantity, and these are all your this is your DPI adjustment right here, and you'll see lights lighting up on the mouse as you change that. The scroll wheel here is of extremely good quality. There's a nice textured rubber finish on this with some chrome trim around the edges here. This is one of the 2 lighting zones on the mouse that you can change the color on, and scrolling action is nice, and I would say this is probably one of the better calibrated scroll wheels that I've felt in some time. Clicking on this is also rather easy to do. So for those of you that are content creators out there, or someone that uses software that needs to use the scroll wheel to click and drag things, this is rather an enjoyable scroll wheel to use. On the topic of some minor controversy online lately, this does include a braided cable. It is a really high quality braided cable. It does offer ample length. It is very long, and it is one of the heavier braided cables that I've encountered. Everything about this mouse screams hefty. I mean, the total weight without the cable is anywhere from 121 to 134 grams, depending on how much weight you add to this. So definitely want to keep that in mind if this was something you were considering. It is a bit on the heavier side. We do have an Avago 9800 laser sensor in here with up to 8200 DPI. This is an extremely accurate sensor implementation here, guys. I don't experience any form of artificial acceleration with the mouse. It tracks extremely true, and I gotta say that this is probably one of the most enjoyable laser sensors that I've used in recent history, at least as far as implementation goes. The signature feature of the X10 Carbon is the carbon fiber finish that's along the sides here, and it does offer a really nice sort of visual appeal for the product, but I find that functionally it doesn't really do much of anything. Honestly, you can see the glare on the camera here. This is, to me, this implementation is just as bad as glossy plastic, and to that end, I am very happy that they do include some optional grip tapes for the side of the mouse to give you a cleaner grip. But as you can see here, it's not really the most durable of grip tape. I was using this for several weeks as a travel companion of mine, and with it bumping around in my bag and everything, it did unfortunately wind up damaging the tape significantly. So you're definitely going to want to bear that in mind if this is something you're going to want to travel with. You will want to get some more durable grip tape on the side here. Now, clicks on the mouse sound really good. They feel really nice. These are Omron switches, rated for, I want to say, 20 million clicks. So yeah, these will last you a good long time. Probably the only complaint that I had about them is this particular button right here. It does click, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it wants to. Like right now, I'm moving the mouse button and it's clicking hardly at all. That's a defect in this particular product. This doesn't seem to be a common thing, but it is something you're going to want to look out for and test relatively soon after getting a product like this. Because if you were a left-handed user trying to use this, that would be extremely inconvenient to have a thumb button that just straight up doesn't work. Now I want to start touching on the special features on the mouse. You can see right here that there is this adjustment notch here. Now this is for the Torx bit screwdriver that you get that comes with this mouse, and you can use this to manually adjust the height of your mouse so that it will it'll fit your unique palm shape a bit better. I found that it does actually make a pretty significant difference in how this mouse feels when you're actually using it. I've used it at max height, I've used it somewhere in between, I've used it at the flattest setting. I personally find the flat setting to work pretty well for me, but again, your individual mileage will vary there. Now moving on to the weight system on the inside of the mouse. It's relatively easy to get to. You just sort of push forward on the clicks here a little bit, lift up at the back, and the top of the mouse will pop off. Now, this top section of the mouse is rather durable. The weight system, you can see it's located near the back of the main body of the mouse, and that really sort of highlights what the point of this weight system is in the first place, because it sort of acts to pronounce the center of gravity within this mouse. So what I found was the more weight you add to this, the more prominent that center of gravity feels and the more accurate your movements get. But it does also make the mouse, which is already heavy, much heavier. So definitely want to keep that in mind when you're using the weight system here. It was interesting to use. Maybe if I was more used to a heavier mouse in general, I would probably like that a little bit more. But personally, I just leave the weight basket empty and go on from there. Now, one thing that I found with the top cover here is getting it back on is sometimes a little troublesome, because sometimes you'll go to put it back on and you'll go to click and nothing will be happening. You basically have to slide it in the front first and then push down on the back. There'll be a really prominent click that occurs when that happens. Alright, so moving over to the software for this mouse. This is the EVGA Unleash software. This does work with any of the EVGA accessories out there, including their as yet discussed keyboard. You do have some DPI and sensitivity controls here on the main screen. This one was a little confusing to me. It's almost like you have DPI and then second DPI. I usually just leave the sensitivity at 10 here, and my personal DPI settings are between 800 and 1200 DPI depending on what I'm doing, but you do get range adjustment on this in 50 DPI increments, which is really nice to see. I really like that they have this sort of granular adjustment for DPI here. Really good job. Now, lighting control. You do get 7 predefined lighting colors for this mouse, and that's red, green, blue, yellow, orange, pink, and purple. You can also adjust the brightness of the LEDs up to and including off entirely, and you can independently control the scroll wheel and the EVGA logo. You do also have button assignment options for the 9 buttons here and a factory reset switch. You can disable or enable or change up any of the different buttons on this through an individual button settings tab here. Your advanced settings lets you independently tune up to 5 DPI settings per profile per mouse, as well as adjusting things like angle snapping, mouse acceleration, which should always be off, by the way. I just left this in sort of a default setting here, but this should always be off. And then your OS sensitivity, mouse scroll speed, etc., etc. You also have independent LED controls as well. Then moving on to macros, we have a rather expansive amount of macros that you can add to this mouse, as well as a management option here, which works pretty well. And then you also have up to 5 different profiles that you can save with this mouse, which can be changed from the mouse itself with a little red button that's located next to the sensor. I find in general that the software is extremely responsive. It works really well. It doesn't seem to take up a whole lot of system resources, and I also really like that it has forward compatibility with their keyboards, which allows you to sort of tune all of your EVGA peripherals that you'll have at the same time. So really nice total integration here. Now, before we move on, I did want to show you guys the left and right hand adjustment right here. What this option does is basically does exactly what you think it does. It changes it so that either these thumb buttons or these thumb buttons are disabled based on your hand dominance, so that you don't accidentally hit some buttons while you're gaming or doing whatever it is you're doing with your mouse. All right, so let's sum up my thoughts on the mouse then. What I do like about it is it still maintains this nice timeless form factor that happens to lend itself extremely well to left-handed or right-handed use. So in that sense, I really do rather like this product quite a bit. It offers a lot of flexibility in that sense. The scroll wheel is extremely easy to work, and it's also really easy to click, which is something that I wasn't really expecting for a mouse like this. Not a huge fan of the carbon fiber on the sides, but that's mostly a subjective thing, right? I just happen to not like glossy plastics. Your mileage will absolutely vary with this, but I will say that it does offer a very striking look. Now, in a world full of fully customizable RGB lighting, I actually kind of like that this only has 7 predefined color settings for the mouse, because what happens is you get more accurate representations of the colors that way, whereas with some RGB implementation, you'll find that the colors don't exactly match up to what it is you're seeing on the screen. And that's largely removed by having pre-assigned colors here. I would have liked to see white, admittedly, but that's a personal preference again. Take that for what it's worth. Now, as far as the weight of the mouse is concerned, it's a bit heavier than I'm accustomed to using for a mouse. It's not something that actually bothers me, but it is something that I had to adjust to as I was playing my games with this. But it didn't really take much of a learning curve. Now, that being said, I did experiment with the weights in this, and I kind of found that while the more clearly defined center of gravity is nice in here with the weight system, I was better served by just keeping the weights out entirely. I found that even just adding a little bit more weight to this was increasing fatigue on my hand and my wrist as I use the product. But again, your personal mileage will vary. I'm also really not a fan of the fact that you can't customize the lighting for the different DPI settings that you have on the mouse. So my solution to this was to go into the Unleashed software and basically change it so that I only have 2 DPI settings on my mouse. And I only use 2 DPI settings anyway. I use 800 DPI while I'm editing my videos, and I use 1200 DPI while I'm gaming. So basically, I had my gaming DPI set up to be light off, and I had my editing LED set to on. So basically, that was just my visual indicator of what mode I had this set in. And that's the beauty of something like this, is it does allow you to customize things a little bit deeper than your typical mouse would. So now let's talk about price here. At launch, this mouse was kind of spendy at right around that $100 mark. I was seeing this quite a bit. In recent history, this has dropped down to anywhere from $45 to $67, depending on where it is you're shopping and how cool you are with taking risks on somewhat sketchy websites. That being said, an average price of around $50 to $55 for this mouse is absolutely reasonable. However, when you start looking at the rest of the Torque lineup of mice that EVGA has, you notice that the standard X10 has every feature that this mouse has. The customizable lighting, the adjustable palm rest, the weight system, the extra Teflon feet. You get everything except the carbon fiber finish. And it looks like it's even using a matte plastic on the side as well. And it comes in a bit cheaper. So if you're looking for the functionality of the X10 Carbon without the X10 Carbon Premium, absolutely go for the Torque X10 instead. If it was my money spent on it, that's the decision that I would have made, because frankly, something like a carbon fiber finish on a mouse doesn't really do it for me. But I could see where the appeal for something like this would be for someone that really digs the carbon fiber look. Maybe they have some carbon fiber wrapped parts on the inside of their computer. Maybe they're using one of those MSI carbon boards that has the carbon trimmed heat sinks on them. This would actually be a really nice accent for something like that.
Sorry, EVGA, but it's true. Your products would look good with an MSI board.
But that being said, in general, I'm pretty thrilled with this mouse. It's not going to be a daily driver of mine, but this is going to continue to be a traveling companion of mine because of the ease of use that this has, the quick install of the software. Everything just sort of falls into place really easily and makes for a really enjoyable gaming experience. So I can definitely recommend the entire lineup in general. However, if it comes down to pinching the pennies and you just want or need the functionality of the Torque X10 without the carbon finish, definitely go for the standard Torque X10 instead. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and hit me up with those thumbs up and thumbs downs and the shares and subscribes like you do, how you do. Also, hit me up in the comments below. Have you guys had any personal experiences with EVGA peripherals in the past? Are they good? Are they bad? Did you manage to find maybe a better deal on the Torque X10 Carbon than even I was able to find? Until next time, take it easy, YouTube.